The hall buzzed with soft music and chatter as James adjusted his tie for the third time in the mirror. He looked sharp, black tuxedo, polished shoes, freshly cut hair. But his eyes betrayed a storm beneath the surface. It was his wedding day, yet his heart beat with a strange blend of hope and heaviness. Amara, his soon-to-be wife, was everything he had never expected again in life. Warmth, patience, and kindness wrapped in elegance. She wasn't just marrying a man. She was marrying a man scarred by betrayal, shredded by lies, and stitched together by time. His best man, Thomas, walked in, his smile fading the moment he saw James's face. "You good?" he asked. James forced a nod. "I'm trying." Thomas sat on the edge of the dresser. "You know, you don't owe anyone a perfect heart. Amara knows what you've been through." James turned, his voice low. "It's not her I'm thinking about. It's them." There was silence. James looked out the window of the hotel room, down to the garden where the decorations danced with the wind. His past loomed like a storm cloud over a sunny day. 10 years ago, he had everything, or so it seemed. He and Adwoa had been the couple everyone admired. Married young, full of dreams, and proud parents of 3 girls. ESI. The eldest, wise beyond her years. Nana, feisty and curious. And little Afia, who never went anywhere without her father's arms wrapped around her. They lived in a modest life, full of laughter. James ran a small printing press and Adwoa was a teacher. Then came the opportunity. Adwoa received a scholarship and job offer in the US. They had agreed. She would go ahead with the girls and pave the way. James would join later once everything settled. They promised each other it was temporary. A year or 2. But 6 months after she left, things started to change. Phone calls turned brief. Video chats became excuses. The girls, once excited to see their father, started avoiding the camera. Then, one evening, James got a call that would split his life into before and after. Adwoa's voice was flat, robotic. "James," she said, "I need you to stay away from us." His heart stuttered. What? What are you talking about?" "The girls said things you did to them. I can't ignore it." James dropped the phone. His chest went cold. "What things? What the hell are you talking about?" "They said you touched them." Afia was crying. James, crying. The world spun. "No," he breathed. "That's not true. You know me. Adwoa, you know me." But she didn't want to hear it. She said the girls were going to therapy, that the authorities had been informed, that he was never to contact them again. James sat in the living room for hours, the walls pressing in. The very daughters he had bathed, fed, sung lullabies to, accusing him of something that never happened. It made no sense. The days that followed were a blur. He was interrogated, humiliated. Though no charges were filed, there was no evidence, no trip to Ghana, no case. His life had changed. Friends disappeared. His church asked him to take time off. Even his business began to dwindle. Adwoa filed for divorce within 3 months. He never got to defend himself in court. She had legal aid. He had brokenness. And just like that, James became a ghost. A father erased. He stopped trying to call. Stopped replying to emails that only contained lawyers' letters. Every day he lived in quiet agony, wondering why. Why would his daughters say that? Years passed. He moved on, not in heart but in survival. He started a small business with a friend in Takoradi. Slowly, his name faded from whispered conversations. He stayed alone for 8 years. No woman, no peace. Then he met Amara. She was a widow with a calm strength. They met at a mutual friend's wedding. She didn't know his past, not at first. And when he told her, she didn't flinch. "I don't know what happened, James," she said. "But I believe you." It was the first time someone had said those words to him. They grew close. She brought light to the corners of his soul he thought would stay dark forever. When he proposed, she cried. When they set the wedding date, he started sleeping again. Then, 1 week before the wedding, the unimaginable happened. A knock on his door. 3 young women stood there. He recognized them instantly, though years had stretched their faces. grown-up versions of his little girls. Yesai, tall and serious. Nana, eyes rimmed red. Afia, his little one, trembling like a leaf. He couldn't breathe. What are you doing here? Yesai stepped forward. We need to talk, Daddy. He hadn't heard that word in 10 years. Inside, they sat, all three on the couch while James remained standing, afraid to get too close. It was Afia who broke the silence. We lied. James blinked. What? We lied? She repeated, her voice cracking. About everything. Nana nodded. Mum was angry. She thought you were cheating because you didn't call as much. She started saying things in front of us. Toxic things. Telling us how Ghanaian men are all the same. How you'd abandon us. She asked us questions, ESI added. Pushed us to think about anything unusual. When we said nothing, she started crying. Said we didn't love her. That we were protecting you. She was unwell. Depressed, maybe. I don't know. James sat down, numb. Afia looked him in the eye. So we made it up. We thought it would make her happy. Nana's voice broke. We were kids, Daddy. We didn't know it would ruin your life. James stared at them. His throat ached with words that refused to come out. ESI reached into her bag and pulled out a letter. We wrote this for the wedding. We wanted Amara to know the truth too. He took it. His hands shook as he opened it. It was a full confession, handwritten, raw, signed by all three daughters. And then silence again. James finally found his voice. You destroyed me. They wept. We know. I wanted to die, he said, tears slipping down his face. I begged God to let me die. Afia covered her mouth. I lost my business, my friends, my name. I lost me. Yes, I stood. We can't undo it. But we're here now. We're sorry. And we want to be in your life again. He laughed bitterly, wiping tears. In my life again? Now? Afia approached. Please, Daddy. Don't marry her without letting us try to be your daughters again. He stared at her, at the trembling chin, the familiar eyes, the daughter he once taught to swim, the one he carried on his back through the markets when she got tired. He stood up and walked to the window. He couldn't speak, only shake his head. I have nothing left to give. They left the house in tears. And now here he was on his wedding day, holding that confession letter, his heart breaking all over again. He walked to the altar like a man carrying chains. Amara saw his face as he approached. She reached for his hand and whispered, What happened? He pressed the letter into her palm. She read it slowly. Her face paled. She looked up at him, eyes wet. You don't have to do this. I want to, he said. But you're hurting. I always am. They said their vows. But in his voice there was weight. His smile didn't reach his eyes. After the ceremony, the daughters stood in the corner of the reception. Watching, Amara approached them. I read your letter, she said. They nodded, unable to speak. I hope you find a way back to him. But not now. He deserves peace. And she walked away. Years later, James would sit alone on his porch as the sun set. Amara had passed away unexpectedly, cancer. His daughters had tried to come closer, visit, reconnect. He allowed them in gently, carefully, but he was never the same. He loved them, but he never trusted love again. And sometimes, when the night grew quiet and the shadows stretched long, he would whisper to the stars, I had a family once. They didn't bury me with fists. They buried me with a lie. And the stars never replied.